Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Golden State, Golden State, Golden State. Where art thou, brooms, this morning, Golden State? Well, if you watched the NBA Finals last week, you'd realize that LeBron James, in his first Finals appearance and his last Finals appearance, has been swept out of the room. Now, I don't say his last Finals appearance, meaning this will be his last. I hope it's not, because that will definitely end the MJ debate, and I think it's over right now. However, in his last Finals appearance, his most recent Finals appearance, the man has been swept. Back-to-back championships for the Warriors. That's 3 in 4 years. I think it's safe to say that this is a solidified dynasty. The Cavs, they lost game four, was it 108 to 85? They gave up, and so did LeBron James. LeBron, I watched him over there on the bench, and I thought to myself, people compare this man to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan so often. And I watched his body language. I watched his body language in game one. That's not the body language of somebody who is a killer. That is the body language of someone who feels like they've done all they can do and they can't do anymore because it just won't be enough. When I watched Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant growing up, and I'm not criticizing LeBron as a person, this is just basketball critiques. Basketball critiques. When I watched Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant growing up, they always looked as though, as long as their time on the clock, I'm not defeated. And I think that's really been a flaw throughout LeBron's career because at times, when he's done all he can do, he has shown signs of becoming discouraged during the game. Now, after the game's a different story, but during the game, you got to stay in it. If you think you're the GOAT, you have to. You say you're the chosen one. You got it tattooed on your back. Nike made a commercial for you about when you first got the tattoo. So I really wish I would have seen better body language throughout these finals. And yes, I know it's discouraging when you're playing against the Hampton Five, Iguodala, KD, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. I understand that. But LeBron James, you gotta be what people say you are. And the Cavs, they didn't help him. He didn't have a supporting cast. The ghost of game one for LeBron was JR's gaff, where he thinks the score, they're up and they're not up. And from that point, at the beginning of overtime, when that footage came out about LeBron on the sideline just grabbing his head and he's upset and he's distraught, when that came out, that let me know that mentally the man had checked out. The team had checked out. LeBron's right hand issue, is it real? After the game, he has on a soft cast on his right hand, and he's saying that because of how frustrated he was after game one, he punched a whiteboard and essentially broke his hand and had been playing with a broken hand. Now, there may be evidence to back this up because he stopped taking as many shots outside of 10 feet throughout the rest of the series, and they have stats from game two to game three to game four, how that diminished. However, and he did shoot worse from three. He wasn't the hot man that he was in the first, second, and conference finals rounds of the playoffs. So I'll give him that. But still, you can't blame it on the broken hand, LeBron. Yes, I know with adrenaline you can play through an injury like that, but still, even if your teammates knew, you still have to show them somehow, some way, and inspire them. And I just feel like Golden State took you guys' hearts, took the Cleveland Cavaliers' hearts, and composure is required of the greats. When you consider yourself a great, you have to try to maintain composure at all times when you know you're that valuable. If you know that you're indispensable, you can't put yourself in those situations. And I think this whole right hand issue, people will talk about it for quite some time and say, oh, the man broke his hand in that finals and he still did this and still did that. But still, the bottom line is Golden State's a better team. That's why they swept these guys. KD was the man of the hour after the game. Back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back. So Kevin Durant, I'm sure he's feeling himself. However, Kevin Durant, I'm not going to be so easy on you either. Let's be honest about it. You left your team and went to a 73-win team that you had on the ropes. You won a championship last year, won MVP. We won a championship this year and won MVP. It looks to me as though these are discounted championships. You didn't really pay full price for these. You caught these on the clearance rack at Walmart. You caught these on the clearance rack at Jimmy Jazz. These weren't championships that were earned, KD. Now, well, let me rephrase that. They were earned, but these were not bought and paid for with a top dollar, okay? They just were not. Who should have won MVP? After the game, I watched Chef Curry and I thought to myself, they better give this award to Chef Curry because he was gunning for MVP. He wanted it. He smelled it. But Steph Curry, I mean, I guess the game three is what hurt him because he only scored 11 points. But what stood out to me was 3 or 4 games that he had. He also set an NBA Finals record for 3-point field goals. He hit 9 of them, broke Ray Allen's record. So KD, yeah, great talent. He played great in the finals. Consistently dropped 20 points. Had a triple double in these playoffs. In these finals. They owe him 26.3 million. They don't owe him that, but he could accept that. It could become an unrestricted free agent, and he could decline that. Bob Myers, the GM, said that he loves him and he can have whatever he wants. So when the GM's talking about you like that, then without a question, you have the ball in your court. The world is in the palm of your hands. Now, to me, after the game, when I watched KD in this celebration, it seemed as though he kind of rubbed it in a little bit. I watched Chef lean back with the trophy. And to me, that was I should have got the MVP, but he didn't get it. KD being the new kid on the block and winning what should have been Chef Curry's MVP, could that create dissension among this Warriors team? That's my theory. I think the NBA has a plan for another bad breakup. If you think about it, we've seen a few over the years. We saw Shaq and Kobe. Now, I'm not saying that was the NBA conspiring to do that, but we saw that breakup. We saw LeBron and Kyrie. We saw LeBron from the former Cavs and him break up with the city of Cleveland. And then also we saw we've seen a number of different breakups in the NBA. So this would be the magnitude of Golden State breaking up. I think would bring freshness to the NBA as a whole, because people are wondering, when will this dynasty crumble? So how do you do that? You give MVP to not the two-time MVP who won it unanimously his second time, but you give it to the new kid who just arrived at school, who hasn't even taken a class, no, I'm not gonna say he hasn't taken a class. He's the kid who hasn't always been the teacher's pet. Chef was the teacher's pet in Golden State, and now we see the teacher showing way more love to Kevin Durant. How does this affect this Warriors team? Do we start to see egos come into play? Do those come to fruition? Do we see people get salty and start feeling some type? Possibly we do. But I think there was a reason that Kevin Durant earned that MVP. I think Chef earned it because he dropped 29 with 33 and then 37 in the game clincher. Why? Why does he not have an NBA Finals trophy to add to his repertoire? Because honestly, that messes with his legacy. And Chef, you can cook all you want, but you needed that NBA Finals MVP, sir. Maybe next year? Now, the biggest question after these playoffs is, where will LeBron end up? There's a number of places people talked about. The Lakers, Philly, Houston. What's a good fit? Maybe Houston because of James Harden and Chris Paul. I don't like that, though, because they dribble the ball too much, both of them. Chris Paul's a point guard, and then James Harden, rockabye baby, all day long. And then in LA, you've got a young Lakers team. I don't know if they compete right away. Philly, you've got Ben Simmons there. So how do he and LeBron coexist? Depending on how much longer LeBron wants to play, because I'm sure he doesn't want to jump around to 2 or 3 more teams. Dwayne Wade even came out and said this will be more so a lifestyle change decision. And we will have to see what happens with that. Now, LeBron, in my opinion, could go to the Spurs because Greg Popovich, he is the coach there, and LeBron respects Greg Popovich. Could we see him in a black and silver uniform? Possibly, but it might not happen. But I definitely think he's out of Cleveland. Those jerseys should go on sale. We will see the Northeast Ohio area take another hit financially in the downtown district where all those businesses are. They did a story on it a few years ago, talked about when LeBron went to Miami, what happened economically to that area, and it will happen again. So Cleveland, I hope you enjoyed him while you had him. And we will enjoy him while we have him, because LeBron, the time is getting short. You're 3-6 in NBA Finals, not a good look. The GOAT discussion is over, sir. But pick and choose wisely your next destination, because you need at least one more ring to say, hey, put me on that Mount Rushmore. My opinion. NFL mini camps are missing some stars. If you guys didn't know, this is the time where teams get together and they have these mini camps. Julio Jones is a no-show for the Falcons. He's got 3 years, 35 mil left on his contract. And I don't blame Julio Jones because he's been hurt the last couple of years as far as that foot goes. I want to say he's had a lot of foot issues. And for that reason, Antonio Brown, he got 17 million. He's making 17 million per year. Julio's only making 14. So if I'm Julio Jones, I think to myself, what can I do to maximize myself? Well, I am a key component of this Falcons roster. They need to pay me. So I can't blame Julio Jones. Earl Thomas from the Seattle Seahawks, the safety who broke his leg 2 years ago, he won't attend minicamp. And like he said, until my contract situation is resolved. So my advice to Seattle, he don't want to be there anyway. His buddies aren't there anymore. Michael Bennett's gone. Cam Chancellor, we don't know if he's ever going to ball again. Richard Sherman's gone. He's in San Francisco. Wants to take vengeance out on the Seahawks. That's why he went to that division within the division, stayed in the division. And Earl Thomas, he's another component of that Legion of Boom. It's sad to see that Pete Carroll's era and dynasty is clearly over. Russell Wilson, yes, will win more games, but I don't see Seattle winning another Super Bowl. I just don't. Pete Carroll messed it up. What he could have built, he messed up by not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Look at where this franchise has gone since that moment. 1 yard, Pete Carroll. 1 yard. Game of inches. Now, combative sports. Terrence Crawford knocked out Jeff Horn Saturday night. The showmanship of this young man from Nebraska is what makes him a must-see. I think Terrence Crawford, to me right now, is maybe the second best pound-for-pound fighter. I don't think he's better than Vasyl Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko is a machine. However, Terrence Crawford, he has got heart and he's got hands. Jeff Horn, I knew he couldn't handle him. He beat the man up, knocked him out in the 9th round. Terrence Crawford, be on the lookout. He could be your next Money Mayweather, but he's much more humble, and I do appreciate that about him. Deontay Wilder accepts terms to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. That's going to be our first big heavyweight fight in quite some time since the Lennox Lewises of the world and people of that sort, since Mike Tyson's Holyfield. This is going to be a big heavyweight fight that I can't wait to watch. I like Wilder because he's got the reach. However, well, let's see how these interviews go leading up into the fight. I think there's going to be a lot of trash talk. Deontay Wilder shown in his recent fights that he's no guy to play with. So Anthony Joshua, he will be on his home turf. So let's not hope Deontay Wilder goes in there and just knocks the man out and beats him up in front of his home crowd. But I think this will be a competitive fight. I really do. Really do. Now, Alexander Ovechkin, we talked about his legacy time and time again. Won his first Stanley Cup against the Vegas Knights last week. Congrats to Alexander Ovechkin. He now puts himself in the same realm as a Sidney Crosby because he's got a Stanley Cup. So, Alexander Ovechkin, congrats to you, sir. And DC, they're rocking right now. The Caps are on top. Vegas, they'll be back next year. Vegas missed out. Well, Las Vegas, the bookies, missed out on a large payout that they would have had to give had Vegas won the Stanley Cup final. Because the odds were, 500-1 at the beginning of the season? Easy now. So I'm sure they're wiping sweat from their forehead. Next show will be late July. And my birthday is July 1st. But, you know, things are kind of calming down a little bit in the sports world. I will be on Instagram. I will be on my Facebook. My Instagram's at Zono Sports. Facebook, Zono Sports Show on Facebook. Make sure you go add those. Subscribe to my channel. We'll have a few features in between then. Possibly have an interview or two between then. But our show, this show, will not be back until late July. So make sure you just keep up with me. I will always have fresh content on those social media outlets. But pretty soon I'll be making a couple changes, working on a podcast, trying to get that up and ready and launched. Also, working on a few upgrades. You know, the studio's been under construction, so got a few upgrades that I'm working on for you guys. Okay, so when we relaunch, Zono Sports will have a whole new look. Trust me on that. It's in the works. So I really look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thank you for keeping up with the Zono Sports Show. We will talk soon where you know Zonos.